Now let me present the logistic functions. Logistics is a process of movement of goods across the supply chain of the company. But this logistic process consists of various functions which have to be properly managed to bring effectiveness as well as the cost efficiency. Generally, there are 7 major logistics functions. First one, order processing, inventory management, warehousing, transportation, material handling and storage, logistical packaging, information. So what is order processing? Let us have our discussion on each of the logistics function in detail. Order processing. It is an important task in the logistics operation. The purchased order placed by the buyer on the supplier. Imagine there are 2 different parties involved in the business transaction, the buyer and the seller. So the purchased order placed by the buyer on the supplier is an important legal document of the transactions happening between the 2 parties. So this document incorporates the description of the technical details of the product. What are the technical details? If you look into the order document, the supply, the price, the delivery period, the payment terms, the taxes and other commercial terms as agreed. So the processing of this specific document is an important and it has a direct relationship with order or the performance cycle, specifically the performance cycle time. When the order received and when the product is received by the customer. And generally, if you look into the order processing, it has certain continuous steps to be followed. Right? First, we start with order checking for any deviations in agreed or negotiated terms, the prices, the payment and the delivery terms, checking the availability of the materials in stocks, production and material scheduling for shortages, acknowledging the order, indicating any deviations if any. So the steps what we discussed, the process consumes a lot of time, and if it is done through manually, a lot of paperwork is also involved. So if the processing of the order is slow and complicated, it still have a direct effect on the committed delivery period. So it may also increase the transportation costs to deliver the material quickly in order to compensate for delays in the order processing operation. So mostly the order processing process, though it is the initial stage or initial function in the logistics, which has to be taken care. So it is a routine function, but it requires a great deal of planning and training of people involved and investment in the system, specifically the IT or digital based, customized or any kind of softwares or packages which will bring the efficiency and accuracy in the system. So in a large organization, when the thousands of orders are received per day, it becomes impossible to manually register and process the entire orders quickly and currently. So the system should be capable of handling a voluminous work with minimum human involvement or even without any human interference. So in addition, due to the competitive pressures, the order fulfillment cycle has to be shortened as possible. So to have, this is considered as an edge over the rival firms or your competitive firms in order to retain the customer. So the only solution is to devise an order processing system ensuring the efficiency and accuracy but with minimum investment cost. So these are all the important points which we need to keep that in our mind in the context of the first function under logistics, the order processing. Shall we move on to the second point? Yes, inventory management. Inventory management is maintaining the requisite inventory. Inventory in the form of a stock to meet the customer requirements while simultaneously ensuring that carrying cost is as low as possible and the cost to meet the same. So the inventory is the greatest risk process in the overall supply chain of the firm, because it carries a huge carrying cost which will indirectly affect the growth of our organization profit. It consists of cost of financing the inventory, the insurance, the storage. Apart from that, the losses, the damages, the pilferages it has created when you are keeping a stock of a specific product. The average cost of the inventory carrying varies from 10 to 25% of the total inventory per year, depending on the product. So this is a major cost which has to be reduced as much as possible to improve the profit margin. In ease of any perishable product, it is on the higher side. Even though the maintaining the inventory is a major expense, the inventory firm cannot meet the regular and timely product requirement of its customer. So this is the most important function under our logistics. There are two approaches to inventory management in general. One is mostly based on the cost approach. The other one is based on the customer's satisfaction. So whenever we talk about logistics operations or even supply chain operations, our inventory, we have two different extremes. One is your cost trade-off. The other one is the cost efficiency. The other one is customer responsiveness. You need to balance the cost and the customer responsiveness. Due to latest communication, any kind of computing facilities and the disruptive technologies which has played a major role, the digital technology which also has played major roles. So many of the firms in the B2B market are operating almost zero inventory level by adopting different inventory tools like just-in-time techniques and all. But this is possible with a co-partnership between the purchaser and the supplier. So there should be a strong bond between the supplier and the purchaser. Whenever the purchaser needs requirement of any material which has to be supplied by the supplier immediately, where the logistics parts plays a major role. Right. So this is the second function. So far we have seen order processing and the inventory. Shall we move on to the third one? Warehousing. The warehouse is a storage place wherein finished goods are stored till they are sold. So it plays a vital role in the logistics operations of a firm. So the effectiveness of any organization warehouse, it depends on making the right decisions regarding the warehouse. See, if you look into today's context, warehouses are treated as switching facility rather than it is a storage facility. It is a major cost center, and many problems at the customer end are the direct result of the improper warehouse management. And we can also say warehouse is a key decision area in the logistics management. What are the major decisions which we can take using our warehousing? Just take a paper and write down what comes to your mind. I'll just wait for a second. I'll repeat the question. What are the major decisions involved related to warehouse? I'll give you a minute time for you to think and note down the major decision points which comes to your mind. Yeah, many have started writing and showing, so better let me continue. I'm not waiting for another a minute. Yes, most of you have responded positively. Location of the warehousing facilities, number of warehouses, the size of the warehouse, of course, the warehouse layout, the design of the building, the ownership of the warehouse. So I'll repeat for your clear understanding once again. Location of the warehousing facilities, number of warehouses, size of the warehouse, warehouse layout, design of the building, and ownership of the warehouse. So warehousing is an important component of logistics, and it is directly linked to the ability of the firm to deliver the desired level of customer service. So the ownership of the warehouse, it could be either a private ownership, a public ownership, or even a contractual ownership. So each one has its own unique features, advantages, and the risk associated with it, and the firm has to choose the best option depending on its objectives and available resources. However, taking a decision regarding warehousing requires a proper planning and analysis, which will help seeking help from experts in the real estate, industrial engineering, operations research, with multiple mode of varied disciplines. Expert opinion will make the warehousing plan a perfect one. Now I am taking you to the next important function of logistics, the transportation. For movement of goods from the supplier to the buyer, transportation is the most fundamental and important component of logistics. After the order is placed, the transportation is not complete till the goods are physically moved from the manufacturing place or warehouse to the customer place. So the physical movement of goods is through various transportation modes. Now take your paper, just write down what are the various transportation modes you have come across when you are just walking on the road. Yes, there are many transportation modes: road transport, land, under the land you have road in the railway mode, then you have waterways, pipelines, airways. Yes, excellent. For low unit value products, the transportation cost component is almost around 20% of the product cost. I'll repeat, when you look into the low unit value products, the transportation cost component is 20% of the product cost. So in the logistic cost, it shares up to 65 to 70% in case of a mass consumed very low unit priced product. So which means what? More than 50% of the cost is purely based on the transportation. So depending on the infrastructure of the transportation in the country or in the region, the firms have to choose the mode of transportation. And we need to consider the cost. Cost is the most important consideration in the selection of a specific transportation mode. However, based on an agency for the goods at the customer end, it overrides the cost consideration, and the goods are sent through the fastest mode, and we know which is going to be a very expensive alternative. So the consideration whether the firm should have its own fleet, it has its own transportations, are going for outsourcing depending on the investment it requires, along with the operating cost, the expertise, reliability of these transportation services offered by the third parties. So the common modes available, as I have already pointed out and you have also mentioned, the road carriers, the railways, the airways, the ships, the pipelines and the ropeways. So depending on the customer requirements, availability of the transportation infrastructure, the reachability and the cost, the firm, the organization, they have to decide on the mode with optimum cost under which the product has to be served to, delivered to the customer within a minimum possible time. So in that context, the transportation is also one of the important function under our logistics. Now I'm just going with the next point, material handling and the storage system. The speed of the inventory movement across the supply chain depending on the type or method of material handling we are keeping it. So if semi-automated drones, semi-automated lifts, semi-automated material handling equipments will perform the work comparatively faster than the manual equipment. So an improper method of material handling will add to a product damages and delay also in the deliveries, and thereby the firm may get some kind of overheads. So mechanization and automation in material handling, which enhances the logistics system productivity. The other consideration for the selection of a material handling system are the volumes to be handled, the huge volume of the packages of the inventories, the products, the speed required for material movement, and the level of service to be offered to the customer. So this specific function, the choice of storage system, is also important because when the space is big, one movement of a material handling equipment could also be easy. So it is the maximizing the space utilization in the warehouse. So the material handling system should normally support the storage system for speedy movement, that is the storage retrieval of the goods in and out of the warehouses. So apart from the 5 functions what we discussed, we also have 2 more support functions which is related to our logistic functions. Logistical packaging. Logistical packaging, the other way we normally call it as an industrial packaging. It is a crucial element in the physical distribution of the product, which influences the efficiency of the logistical system. It differs from product packaging, which is based on a marketing objective. So, the product package is always carrying the market appeal. This logistical packaging plays an important role in the damage protection, the outer coverage. This is what I mean here by the logistical packaging. The ease of material handling and storage space economy. So, the unitization of this load has a major bearing on logistical packaging regarding the packaging cost. So, you can use any number of materials, but what is the cost of transporting the material if it is tightly packed, heavily packed, right? So, that also we need to consider. The last element or function under the logistic functions of information, IT or information technology. The logistics is basically an information based activity. It is basically an information reliance activity of inventory movement across the supply chain. So, the role of information system, starting from procuring a material till a final product which is delivered to a consumer, the information system plays a vital role in delivering the superior customer service. So the use of various IT tools for information identification, access, storage, analysis, retrieval and decision support in logistics, which are helping business firms to enhance their competitiveness. So far what I discussed with you, the various functions of logistics management. We discussed nearly 7 components: order processing, which deals with the process of ordering the product, information sharing, inventory management, warehousing, transportation, material handling and storage, logistical packaging, and finally we discussed about the role of information system into it. I hope this will give you an understanding of what are the common functions under logistics management, right? Now we move on to the next important topic for our discussion: logistics for business excellence. Logistics is an information-based process of material movement from the supplier, that is the manufacturer, supplier to the manufacturer, and then to the customer. So for business excellence, the logistics operations need to be integrated under 2 different parts: integration of logistics into a business and integration of the components of logistics into a business. So first we consider integration of logistics into business. The second focus, we need to go for the various components of logistics into business. Okay, so any business process consists of a set of activities that include might be a purchase of a raw material procurement, then conversion, distribution of the finished products for selling. So to accomplish the objective of making available the right product at the right place and the right time, very importantly at low cost. So the help of another process called logistics is also required. So the process takes care of material storage and movement across the 3 different stages. The objective of any business will not be achieved until or unless the logistics is integrated into a business process. The integration will make the process run as a chain rather than an isolated process element. So maybe I'll put it in a very simple way. The logistic process is a set consisting of a number of activities, including the points which we have seen in the earlier slide: warehousing, material handling, storage, packaging, transportation, and of course the movement of information flow. Specifically, the order moves from supplier to the customer through procurement, processing, and distribution. In all the stages, the material flow and the information flow, both in both directions, it is flowing. So for the logistics operation to run smoothly, what is expected now? A proper integration among the components of the logistics process. The efficiency and the effectiveness of the entire system depends on how the individual elements get coordinated and work as a system and not as a functional silos. In the integrated logistics process, the close coordination of inventory flow and information flow is essential for a system. So for the manufacturer, if you see, the inventory flow starts after the material is shipped from the supplier to the the manufacturing center, and ends with the delivery of the finished product to the customer or the user. In case of the retailer, the logistics process starts after the material is dispatched from the manufacturer or wholesaler and end with the final delivery to the customer. So the volume of the logistical activities varied with the width of the supply chain, the product, category and the volume of the business. So in the business process, if you see, there is continuous value addition happening at each stage. Specifically, each stage of inventory transformation till it is finally delivered to the customer. So the logistics supports the value creation process. So it requires, so now we conclude what logistics requires. It requires a continuous attention from the firm management. Your focused attention, logistic activities can be, we can further subdivide the logistics business operations under 3 different heads. Okay, one is procurement, second one is processing, and the third one is distribution. Let us have a detailed discussion on the sub-components of logistics, which will make the entire business done under cost efficiency, but also to meet with the customer responsiveness. Okay. What is procurement? Procurement is the buying or purchasing activity. So the material movement from supplier to the buyer comes under the purview of inbound logistics. The things which comes to the organization, that is inbound logistics, the things which the material which you're moving, taking it out from the organization is called outbound. So the raw materials, the components, parts, and the consumables necessary for the manufacturing operations are required at the plant at the start of each production schedule. So the logistics activities, so now it includes your transportation and storage. So the focus here is on the timely movement of the goods and economic load sizes for the transportation. You have to focus on 2 issues here. A quick transport, which is supposed to carry the optimum size or the optimum load of the materials, right? I'll just give you the points once again. The focus here is on the timely movement of goods in economic load size for transportation. Procurement is concerned with availability of the desired material for manufacturing in the right quantity. So to save on the inventory carrying cost, frequent small lot sizes are planned. With increased transportation frequency, this freight charges may go up, so which may also offset the savings made on inventory carrying cost. So here we need to look into 2 different issues. One is the cost of storing, the other one is cost of carrying. The 2 things needs to be balanced under the procurement decision. The second component is processing. So the logistics operation specifically under the manufacturing process, which what I mean here by the processing. So the logistics operations in the manufacturing is concerned with movement of the in process, specifically work in progress inventory. So logistics, how they are helping here? They are helping in preparing the production scheduling. It is concerned with the availability of the inventory for the product to be manufactured, the places where they are manufacturing, and the timings when they are manufactured. So the sub-assembly, for example, if the sub-assembly for a truck will be manufactured at the decentralized location, various locations, they have to brought to the main plant for carrying out the assembly work. So process logistics here, which takes care of the movement of the right parts and components to the respective sub-assembly plants, and from there to the main assembly plant, as and when they required as per our production schedule. The process logistics also takes care of the movement of the inventory to meet the requirement of the internal customer, where the degree of uncertainty is very low because of the manufacturing operations are under the control of the firm's management. What is the third function or subcomponents? The distribution, the movement of finished goods from the manufacturing plant to the customer or even the user comes under the purview of the outbound logistics. That is, any goods movement from the organizer, that is a manufacturing unit, to the warehouse or retailer or wholesaler or even to the end customer. So the availability of material at the point of sale, and that too at the time it is required by the customer, is vital for the enterprise to encash the opportunity. So the material may be required at various places in the distribution channel. The requirement of each of the channel members may be different in terms of quantity, in terms of the product variety, the frequency of delivery, the transportation, and other reasons. So outbound logistics normally ensure the movement of the material as per the requirement to the right places in the right time, but always with a minimum cost. Yes, you are right. So what are the three subcomponents we had a discussion right now? The logistics activities at the three places: procurement, processing, and distribution in the supply chain. But the requirements are different. So the prime goal or objective of the integrated logistics should be to coordinate the inventory movement across the supply chain for the system effectiveness and efficiency to gain the competitive advantage. So the point what I want to make under this discussion clear is what are the logistics integration, how the logistics integration is really helping a business unit to reach out the business excellence through its competitive advantages it is creating under the three different heads: the processing and the procurement, processing and the distribution. I hope this understanding is clear from your end. Shall we move on to the next part of our discussion today? Yeah, the objectives of logistics management. I hope by the time after listening to the introductory part of the lecture what I gave, from that by the time you would have been now ready for answering my question, what are the primary objective of logistics management? Yeah, to effectively and efficiently move the inventory in the supply chain. So what is benefit we are getting? To extend the desired level of customers. Is it enough if you reach out the desired level of customer service? Yeah, somebody is answering me. Yes, good. Everything should be reached out at the least possible cost. So I have two different tough objectives before me when you consider what is the logistics objectives. One is I need to satisfy the need of the customer. It is not only satisfying, reaching out the desired level of a customer. The second one is I have to manage the cost in a very effective way. So to achieve this, right, what are the major objectives we have to frame if we want to keep a perfect logistics management system in the organization? This is what we are going to have our discussion right now. Let us start our discussion with the first point: inventory reduction. Inventory is one of the prime factors that can adversely affect the bottom line of any enterprise, which we had our discussion even earlier when we talk about the various functions of logistics management. Even I mentioned the word, it is one of the crucial risk avenue in the logistics management part. Though the financial accountancy perspective, inventory is an asset. Most of you have studied accounting and financing. When you consider inventory, because it is an asset, we are keeping the stock, it is considered as an asset. But it doesn't cause any appreciable advantages. Even if you want to stock it to excess, it creates only a trouble. Traditionally, firms carry excess inventory for the purpose of extending excellent customer service, because we may not know what time the demand pattern will get changed. So though we consider inventory as being an asset, it requires investment to possess it, right? So it is not abandoned inventory if you're keeping, and you can't say that my organization, I'm keeping my asset always ready. Anytime if a demand rises, I can manage. It is not a question of keeping your inventory. It is a question of keeping the inventory with the required minimum cost. So the fund, the amount, the money, what you are investing are blocked and cannot be used for any other productive purpose. So there is a capital cost also associated with it. If you're not using it for long time and keeping it in dump, we can say it's a sink cost. And the carrying cost, which will be equivalent to the interest of the funds at the bank borrowing rate currently applicable. So the carrying cost will be a drain on the enterprise profit. So the prime objective of the logistics is to maintain the inventory at the minimum level. So you can say in a objective in a very simple sentence, but in reality, how to do it, how organizations are making it. You have different papers, learning different subjects where different strategies will be shared with you. So the customer service goal can be managed, those small but frequent supplies. In spite of it, how this could be addressed. So the inventory related cost has to be minimized drastically, while transportation costs will go up marginally. So the net effort, whatever, either you have to manage the transportation costs as well as you have to manage the inventory costs, the net effect will result in better margin, right? Now, we move on to the second important point, the reliable and consistent delivery performance. But we'll put it in another way, customer responsiveness. You are meeting out the requirement of the customer. Time delivery or timely delivery, it is one of the crucial to the customer to keep up the production schedule. He is not interested in the delivery of the material ahead of the schedule. I'm not saying all the customers, if you order a product and you have received it 2 days before, many of them are happy only. But it is not possible all the time I can supply or deliver the product ahead of the schedule, which is not possible. So this area of operation is subject to variance. So the proper planning of transportation modes and inventory availability, along with the variation factors, which will reduce the variance. So what are the other supportive objectives related to this? It should be consistency in delivering the performance. So first time if you're offering to a set of new customers, you are providing the better service, better delivery, not even bother about the cost. Will you do it continuously? Whether consistency will be there in the next, your consequent purchases when a customer is making an order with you, that is also equally important. So the other objective of logistics should be consistency in delivery performance. This will help in building the customer confidence and contribute to creating a long-term relationship. You are retaining a customer for a long time. The third major objective could be the freight economy. The freight is a major cost element in the logistical cost. Whether is it a controlled variable which can be controlled under the purview of the organization? No. This can be reduced by adapting certain measures. Yes, the freight consolidation, the mode of transport selection, the route planning, the load unitizing, the long distance shipment planning, using certain tools planning tools or the operations research tools to identify the shortest path in a minimum time and cost possible. So these are some of the ways through which company can manage making the cheapest freight economy. Then minimum product damages. Actually, the damages to the products are also adds to our logistical costs. The reason for product damages, it could be either any improper logistical packaging, I mean the outer coverage packages, the frequent consignment handling, absence of the load unitizing, maybe anything. So the use of the material handling equipment or the load unitization and proper logistical packaging may reduce the kind of product damages. So the last point of primary objective related with logistics are the quick response. This aspect is related to the capability of the firm to extend the service to the customer in the shortest time framework. The usage of the latest technologies, the information system, maybe the ICT information communication system, which will help, which will assist, which will make the firm helping in the decision making capability in terms of accuracy, time, enabling the enterprise to be flexible enough to fulfill the customer requirements in terms of volume, variety. This everything is possible. You have to make it with the shortest time frame. The smaller shipment could be delivered rapidly at the point of consumption. Something like this. So this also depending on the how quickly you are responding to your customer. At the same time, we have to consider the cost constraints, the freight charges and all. So our primary objectives of logistics could be in the following areas. First focus will be on the inventory reduction. Second one with reliable and consistent delivery performance. Third one is with the freight economy. Fourth one is with minimum product damages and quick customer response. I hope this primary objectives based on which a company is planning any logistics solutions or any kind of framing their logistics strategy will get success or will be the competitor in the market, gaining the basic competitive edge through the logistics. Now I'm adding into this objectives a few more points I would like to add. The logistics solution. So I'm just going to add few more thought on logistics solutions. Traditionally, manufacturing organization used to have their in-house logistics department taking care of all the aspects of logistics, from the source of raw materials to the delivery of finished product to the customer. But logistics is not the area of core competency of manufacturing or trading organization. So this job needs to be handed over to somebody who's not having a basic training in the logistics skill. So whose core competency is logistics and who can do the job with greater efficiency and effectiveness based on the expertise. And you also be a person who always look into the cost, how to reduce the cost, which will be a saving for or improving the profit margin. But today, how the successful organizations across the world, they are outsourcing the logistics to a third-party logistics. Normally, we say 3PL, 4PL. This is all generation of logistics, which we may have our discussion, further discussion in the continuing units. So the entire logistics activities can be outsourced to the third-party logistics service providers. 3PL, third-party logistics providers. Maybe right now we are in the fifth PL, fifth level of generation of logistic providers who have the necessary infrastructure and the expertise to do the job in a cost-effective manner. So they provide a complete logistic solutions to manufacturers and the traders for integrating various logistics operations, so thereby ensuring the speedy and uniform material movement across the supply chain. Some organizations in the trucking segment also offer some kind of time-bound freight services across the length of the country. And the other segment also, warehouse service providers, they just go for providing only the warehouse services. And there are other third-party agencies, clearing and forwarding agents. They have expertise in handling the export and the import cargo and the customs and other formalities. So all these various segments, there is the warehouse, logistics operations, then the clearing and forwarding agency operations. They have expertise in their individual area of operation, but are incapable of delivering a holistic solution. Because for each company, agency, the requirement is different, so they have to provide a customized service. So the task of integrating these various arms of logistics to provide a comprehensive service under a single window, which is what we normally call a logistics solution or logistics strategy. So the solution or the strategy may be customized for a product, pickup and delivery locations, the number of volumes of materials to be handled, and what are the formalities to be completed. A single unit which can handle all the logistics segment in a seamless way to provide a hassle-free logistics service to their client. So we say they are providing a complete logistics solution. So that is the base. These are the basic skills which are required to make yourself as a logistic professionals. And in today's context, if you're looking for logistics is widely used in virtually every area, and we can even get the eye on a domestic kitchen inventory on one extreme, and the other extreme, if you say, can be applied to complex activities of manufacturing of a luxury cars within a prescribed time frame with stipulated specifications. So the success of a logistics service providing company depends on the conceptualization and implementation of the logistic solutions tuning to the needs of the customer. So this is what I thought of sharing it with you, related with the logistics solution or the logistics strategy. Okay. So I just want to sum up what we have seen so far. We started our discussion with the various functions of logistics. Nearly 7 functions we discussed: the order processing, inventory management, warehousing, transportation, material handling and storage, logistical packaging, and information. After having a discussion, we started logistics for business excellence, and the 2 different headings I discussed with you: integration of logistics into business and integration of components of logistics. Under this, we have focused 3 different sub-components which has to be considered: the procurement part, the processing part, and the distribution part. Then we shifted our discussion to what are the primary objectives of the logistics management. We started with identifying certain primary objectives, starting with inventory reduction, followed by reliable and consistent delivery performance. Then the freight economy, minimum product damages, along with the quick responses. After having discussion on the objectives of a logistics, I also discussed with you what is a logistics solution, how the logistics operations were handled by different companies in a traditional way, but now how companies are providing the logistics operations, completely outsourcing to a third party. They will be considered as 3PL and a lot of generations of logistics, which we are going to have our discussion in further slides. And in addition, how various functions of logistics can be clubbed or integrated together to provide a better logistics solution under the two different extremes of the focus. One is always on the cost efficiency, the other one is always on the customer responsiveness.